jail?
Yeah.
He's going back.
Pooh Shiesty just got hit with a major raid after breaking the terms of his release. And this happened only 3 months after his big first day out celebration. This Memphis rapper was living wild and now has come back to haunt him in the worst way. See, things got tense after he took some lyrical shots in his first day out track. Yeah, the one sitting at over 25 million views. Federal agents weren't feeling that at all, and they made sure to step in hard. The real reason behind his downfall isn't even shocking anymore. It's almost like everyone saw it coming. We're about to get into how he let it all slip right through his fingers. But before we dive deep, let's rewind a bit. Pooh Shiesty was supposed to be enjoying a fresh start, but everything crashed when federal officers showed up at his place and claimed he violated parole. Now, don't think this came out of nowhere. He'd been making moves that looked risky since the day he got out. And here's where it gets wild. It's almost like he was daring the system to come for him again. For those who missed the updates, Pooh Shiesty had just returned home after serving a little under 5 years from an 8-year sentence. Originally, the feds were pushing for 20 years, but his lawyers fought hard and got it cut down. Still, he ended up back way sooner than anyone expected. Federal parole means living every single day like you're walking on glass. When Pooh Shiesty first got released, he was supposed to stay cool and follow every rule to keep his freedom. Federal supervision isn't a game. There are curfews, check-ins, and a whole lot of limits on what you can do. But Pooh was acting like nobody was watching him at all.
Hello?
Yeah,
Trey Williams, yeah, I'm at the house. Yeah, keep it. Alright. Just go, kid. Go make right. No.
There was even that wild moment on Ben the Don's live stream when his parole officer called, asking where he was, and he wasn't even home like he was supposed to be. He was out way past curfew, just chilling like nothing was wrong. And when his officer checked in, he tried to play it off, all while the camera was rolling. Ben had to mute the mic quick because he knew things were getting too real on that live. That right there shows how careless things were getting. And believe it or not, this wasn't just a one-time slip-up. Pooh Shiesty had been acting untouchable from the jump. He kept showing off online, flashing jewelry, cars, and talking that bold talk like he wasn't still technically under federal supervision. But here's where things take a deeper twist. He wasn't just breaking rules, he was also exposing himself through his own lyrics. He even said, "out on paper with a R rug sitting on my counter," which caught major attention. Fans know Pooh doesn't just talk for clout. When he says something in his tracks, people take it seriously. That's his real-life situation. For anyone who might not know, when he mentioned an R rug, that's a reference to a type of weapon, and that's something a federal parolee is absolutely not allowed to have. But here's the twist that makes everything even more unbelievable. Pooh Shiesty wasn't living fully free yet. He was still staying in a halfway house as part of his release terms. Now, for those who don't know what that means, a halfway house is like a transition step after prison. You can't just walk out and live however you want.
Popular rapper arrested. He's accused of shooting a security guard at a South Florida gentleman's club and will remain behind bars. A judge denied bond for 21-year-old Lontrell Williams.
You've got to stay there every night, follow tight rules, and slowly earn back more freedom. It's meant to help people adjust back into regular life while staying under supervision. At a halfway house, there's a set curfew. You've got to be back by a certain hour every night, no excuses. You can't travel whenever you want or take any job without getting permission first. And you definitely can't be hanging around people with records or anyone tied to risky activity. The whole setup is meant to keep you steady and on track while keeping federal eyes on everything you do. But here's what makes federal supervision so serious. They don't cut corners or give chances easily. State parole might let small things slide sometimes, but when it comes to federal agents, they're trained to stay alert to every detail. They can pull up for surprise checks, drug test you without warning, and if you slip up even a little, they can send you straight back to finish your time. For someone like Pooh Shiesty, a well-known figure and the CEO of Chopper Gang, that level of supervision was supposed to be even tighter. Federal agents don't just keep eyes on one person, they monitor entire circles. When you're leading something called Chopper Gang, you already know they're tracking every move, every location, and everyone you connect with. Nothing slips by them. Now, let's get into what really dragged Pooh Shiesty back into all this chaos in the first place. This wasn't his first run-in with the law, and from the looks of it, he didn't learn from the past. The situation that originally sent him away had to do with some serious trouble that went down back in 2020, moments that definitely got federal attention. The main case involved an alleged setup where someone was robbed at a meetup and the event turned violent afterwards. According to court papers, this wasn't just some random street situation. It was part of a bigger pattern that authorities had been keeping track of for a while. And even that wasn't where things ended.
Remember that bet when Buddy had this right here? And I told you I was like, he going to jail?
Yeah.
He's going back.
There was also talk about an incident at a club where things went left after money reportedly went missing. Were fired, and a security guard, someone just doing his job, ended up caught in the chaos. Thankfully, he survived, but it showed how unpredictable things had gotten around Pooh at that time. When you're moving like that in the streets, you're not only risking your own freedom, you're also putting innocent people in danger. The federal case against Pooh Shiesty wasn't built overnight. They stacked it using several serious charges, including armed robbery, assault, and conspiracy. Prosecutors painted him as someone who turned to aggression first instead of thinking things through, claiming he was too much of a risk to the community to be released early. They even pushed for a full 20-year sentence, but his lawyers fought hard for him. They argued that he was still young, talented, and could turn things around if given a fair shot. After a long fight, they managed to get that heavy sentence cut down to 8 years. Still a lot, but far better than the 20 decades he was originally facing. When Pooh finally came home, everything looked bright. His first day out track exploded, millions of views, tons of hype, and people saying he was officially back. He started collecting plaques, riding in luxury cars, and even had rumors swirling about him being linked with Enda Love. It really looked like he was stepping into a brand new chapter, ready to build a real empire the right way.
That first day out record wasn't just a song, it was his message to the world. He was saying he was focused, determined, and ready to dominate the rap game again.
You said what? Yes, I am. Yes, I am, man. Check it a good. That's where I live at. That's where I live at. Refresh it. That's where I live at. Look. I ain't lying to you. I ain't playing no game.
You can mute the joint right now, Trey.
I don't want to play like that.
For a while, fans believed it. It looked like one of those rare comeback stories where someone actually learned from the past and flipped the script for good. But behind the spotlight, the whispers started. People from his circle were saying that he hadn't really left the old ways behind. He was still hanging with the same crowd, speaking that same street talk, and moving like nothing could touch him. As time went on, the tension around Pooh Shiesty started building up again. The internet began buzzing with rumors. People were saying he wasn't just making music, he was still tied up in situations that could bring serious heat his way. His name kept popping up in online discussions, blogs, and even fan forums. Everybody had something to say about what he was really doing behind the scenes. Then things took a sharp turn when clips started surfacing online showing him hanging out with people he wasn't even supposed to be around while on federal supervision. That right there was enough to raise major red flags with the feds. They don't take that kind of stuff lightly, especially not when you're already on their radar. Once those videos hit the internet, it was only a matter of time before someone higher up decided to make a move. Word is they started monitoring his moves again, tracking who he talked to, where he went, and even what he posted. And once they found enough to claim he violated the terms of his release, they didn't hesitate to act. Federal agents reportedly showed up at his location early in the morning, catching him completely off guard. People close to him say the vibe was tense. Neighbors heard loud knocks, and before long, word spread that Pooh Shiesty had been taken back into custody. Fans were shocked, especially since it seemed like he had been getting his career back on track. His team tried to stay quiet at first, but the story exploded online within hours. What made it worse was how quickly the public turned the situation into entertainment. Social media was flooded with reactions, memes, and debates. Some fans were defending him, saying the feds were targeting him unfairly, while others claimed he brought it on himself by ignoring the rules. The thing about federal parole is that they're watching everything. Your socials, your music videos, the people you hang out with, the places you go, nothing slips past them. When you're out here rapping about having heavy weapons while still under federal supervision, that's not just creative expression anymore. That's the kind of thing that could be used against you fast. The real shock that had everyone talking came when Ben the Don broke the news live during one of his streams. In the middle of the broadcast, Ben got a phone call about the raid, and you could hear the surprise in his voice when he found out that federal agents had come through and cleared everything out. He tried to keep things calm at first, but the word was already spreading fast across the streets and social media. In that viral clip, you can hear Ben saying on the phone, "You remember that bet when Buddy had this right here and I told you he going back, remember?" The way he said it made it clear this whole situation wasn't a total surprise to those close to Pooh. People who actually knew what was going on behind the scenes had been warning that this could happen sooner or later. But things got even messier after the stream blew up. Fans started tagging Ben all over Twitter, saying he exposed Pooh live. That's when he jumped online to do damage control, tweeting, "I understand y'all got to get y'all money, but that's cap as F. Shy ain't have a thing to do with that call." Nobody really knows if Ben was trying to protect his friend or just distance himself from the drama, but the internet wasn't buying it. The clip had already gone viral, and once the public gets a hold of something like that, it's impossible to control the story. But no matter how much people tried to spin it, the facts came out anyway. The raid wasn't some last-minute move. It was clearly something that had been in works for a while. Federal agents don't just pop up out of nowhere. They plan, gather intel, build their case piece by piece, and strike only when they're completely ready. From what's been reported, they pulled up to his spot early in the morning, found exactly what they were looking for, and took him back into custody right away. Not long after, every blog and hip-hop page online was flooding timelines with the headline, "Pooh Shiesty back in custody." It spread fast, and fans everywhere wanted to know if it was real or just internet talk. Then DJ Academic stepped in with confirmation, showing the updated federal prison record listing Pooh's real name, Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., along with his register number and a new projected release date of April 11th, 2026. That hit hard because that exact date was his original release date before he got out early on parole. It was like time had reset completely. But this whole situation wasn't just about one mistake. It was about a pattern that showed Pooh never fully respected the second chance he was given. The streets had been whispering for months about how he was moving since he came home, and most people close to the situation said it didn't look promising. For anyone who doesn't fully understand how federal parole works, here's the deal. When you get out early, you're technically still serving time, just outside instead of behind bars. You got curfews, mandatory check-ins, no weapons, no hanging around known felons, and absolutely no illegal activity. The fact that Pooh Shiesty's new release date is set for April 11th, 2026, the same as his original release date, pretty much confirms this was a parole violation, not a brand new case. If he caught new charges, he'd be facing extra time stacked on top of his original sentence. But instead, it looks like he's just being made to finish out the rest of his original 8-year term.
The big mystery, though, is what exactly triggered that raid. Was it the lyrics where he mentioned weapons? Was it him staying out past curfew? Maybe being spyed with people he wasn't supposed to be around? Or was it something small that got noticed during a regular check-in? Based on how things unfolded, it seems like federal agents had been watching and collecting proof of his violations for a while before they made their move. They likely had more than one reason. The live stream where he missed curfew, the lyrics that drew attention, and maybe even surveillance showing him with the wrong company. This wasn't something that happened overnight. It was the result of months of monitoring and buildup. But this story is way bigger than just Pooh Shiesty. It's a reflection of a cycle that keeps pulling young men from tough backgrounds back into the system. When you grow up in certain environments, it's not easy to completely separate from the lifestyle that shaped you, especially when that same lifestyle is what made you a star in the first place. And the music industry doesn't make it any easier. Labels crave authenticity. They want that raw street image because it sells. Fans eat up the drama and danger because it feels real. And social media, it rewards the most extreme behavior with likes, views, and shares. So these artists end up trapped, trying to keep their image alive for the fans while also trying to stay free and keep their future intact. For Pooh Shiesty, that conflict was especially heavy. His whole brand came from being that bold street figure, the chopper gang leader, the one who rapped about power, struggle, and survival. That image, that tough street energy, that's what made Pooh Shiesty a star in the first place. But when you're under federal supervision, you can't keep living that same lifestyle anymore. You've got to evolve your music, your brand, and your mindset without crossing the line set by your parole terms. That's where most artists struggle, trying to grow creatively while still staying true to their roots. What makes this whole situation even more heartbreaking is the ripple effect it has on not just him, but on his entire community and fan base. So many young people looked up to Pooh Shiesty as proof that you could come from the streets, make mistakes, pay your dues, and still bounce back to build something real. He had the perfect opportunity to show that redemption was possible. But instead, he became another cautionary tale of how quickly things can fall apart if you don't move carefully after success. It's a painful reminder that fame doesn't protect you from consequences. If anything, it makes every move more visible, and the financial fallout is massive. Pooh Shiesty was pulling in major income, from streaming numbers to live shows to endorsement deals, and all that money flow stops the moment you're back in custody. That doesn't just hit him, it hits everyone around him too. His family, his crew, and even the people on his payroll who depend on his success are now left in limbo while he serves out the rest of his time. Then there's the legal side. Fighting federal cases costs serious money. His family already spent big to get his first sentence reduced, and now they might have to go through it all again if there's any appeal or new motion filed. That kind of battle can drain a team completely. And let's not forget the record label angle. When an artist gets locked up, especially for parole violations, it throws everything into chaos. Labels invest expecting a return, and when that's suddenly gone, they can legally cut ties. Some companies even have clauses that allow them to drop an artist the moment legal trouble hits. When artists get arrested, record labels react fast. Some might stand by them, but others pause every project and pull funding until things calm down. And that's the sad part. This entire situation could have been avoided. All Pooh Shiesty really had to do was follow a few straightforward rules: stay home when required, avoid any talk or presence of weapons, skip the risky lyrics while under supervision, and steer clear of anyone with a record. Simple steps that would have kept him free to keep building his legacy. Just imagine what he could have done with 3 more years of freedom. He could have dropped multiple albums, expanded his label, invested in real businesses, and built himself into a major power player in hip-hop. He had the platform, the fan base, and the talent. Everything was lined up for him to win big. But instead, he's spending those crucial years locked away, watching the game move on without him. New artists are rising, taking over the spotlight that could have been his. And that's a tough reality to face when you were just getting started again. Now, halfway houses are supposed to make that transition from prison to regular life easier. But the truth is, many are overcrowded, understaffed, and placed in neighborhoods where temptation is everywhere. For someone like Pooh Shiesty, who's both famous and financially stable, that setup might not have offered the real structure or guidance he needed to stay on track. And that highlights a bigger problem. The system isn't truly built to help people rebuild. Federal supervision often focuses more on punishment than growth. Instead of creating a path for success, it sets strict limits that are tough to follow, and the penalties for slipping up are severe. One wrong move can erase all your progress, and that's exactly what happened here. The harsh truth about federal supervision is that one small mistake can send you right back behind bars, even if you haven't committed a brand new offense. It sounds extreme, but those rules are there for a reason. The system is meant to protect the community while giving people a chance to prove they've changed for real. But when someone breaks those rules again and again, especially after being convicted of serious crimes, the authorities feel like they have no choice but to step in. So what's next for Pooh Shiesty? As of now, he's scheduled to be released on April 11th, 2026, as long as no new cases come up while he's inside. That gives him around 15 months to think deeply about his choices and build a new plan for his life once he's free again. But the world won't be the same when he comes home. The rap game moves fast. New artists rise every month, sounds evolve overnight, and attention spans are shorter than ever. The wave he once dominated might be gone by the time he's back, which means he'll have to reinvent himself if he wants to reclaim its spot. Coming back after multiple arrests is no easy task. The industry isn't always forgiving, and starting over while carrying that kind of history makes it even harder. His lawyers might try to appeal the parole violation or ask for early release again, but that's going to be an uphill battle. Judges don't like seeing people waste second chances, and prosecutors will argue that he's already shown he can't follow the rules. The best thing Pooh can do right now is use his time wisely. He could channel his energy into writing more music, sharpening his craft, reading, and even continuing his education, maybe even earning certifications or building business skills that set him up for real success later. When he finally walks out again, he'll need to prove that he's not just talking about change, he's living it. Because this time around, there won't be any room for mistakes. If Pooh Shiesty plays his cards right, this time could actually become his biggest turning point yet. He's got a rare chance to rebuild his name from the inside out, not by trying to prove how tough he is, but by showing how much he's grown. Fans still remember the energy and raw talent that made him blow up in the first place, and if he can tap into that again with a more mature mindset, he could come back stronger than ever. What people often forget is that hip-hop loves a redemption story. The culture respects real growth. When someone falls, learns, and rises again, it hits differently. If Pooh comes home focused, healthy, and ready to grind, the same fans who once doubted him might be the ones cheering the loudest for his return. But that depends on how he uses these next 15 months. Every day counts. He could take this time to plan out his comeback strategically, write songs that tell his story with truth and reflection, show the world that he's more than just a controversy and headlines, maybe even build connections with mentors in the game who turned their lives around after facing similar struggles. There are artists who went through the same system, came out and built empires. He can learn from them. When he gets out, it's not just about jumping back into the studio, it's about rebranding himself completely. He'll need to focus on the music, the business, and the message. If he can flip his pain into purpose, he could inspire way more people than he ever did with his street anthems. But let's be real, the world moves fast and the industry waits for no one. If Pooh doesn't come out with a solid mindset, the fame he once had could fade for good. That's why it's crucial he uses this time as motivation instead of misery. He's got a shot to prove that second chances can work, that someone from his background can rise again without falling into the same traps. The real question now is, what's gonna happen when Pooh Shiesty walks out in April 2026? Will he come out with a new mindset, or will we be right back here talking about the same mistakes all over again? The entire hip-hop community is paying attention, and hopefully other artists in similar positions are learning something from this. Because this story isn't just about Pooh Shiesty. It's about what people do when life gives them a second shot. It's about the power of choices, the weight of your environment, and how hard it can be to change when everything around you stays the same. The streets, the fame, the expectations, all of it can pull you right back if you don't stay focused. For the younger generation watching this unfold, the message is simple but powerful. When you get the chance to turn your life around, treat it like gold. Don't let ego, bad influences, or the need to keep up an image cost you your freedom or your future. What's the point of success if you can't even enjoy it freely? The spotlight fades fast when you're behind closed doors. And for other artists walking that same line, this whole situation should be a serious wake-up call. Federal supervision is not something to take lightly. The rules might feel strict, but breaking them will take everything from you in an instant. Pooh Shiesty could have easily stayed out of trouble by focusing on his music, following his parole terms, and moving smarter. But instead, he acted like no one was watching, and now he's right back where he started, finishing the time he once escaped. What makes it even sadder is that he had everything lined up for success: the fame, the money, the fans, the support system, and the raw talent that most artists dream of. But none of that matters if you can't make the right choices when it counts most. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. How do you feel about Pooh Shiesty's situation and his chances at a comeback? And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the next big hip-hop update. Real talk, this whole story is a major reminder for anyone out there on parole, probation, or just trying to turn their life around. Your freedom is something you have to protect, because once it's gone, getting it back isn't easy. Don't risk everything for street status or quick clout. It's never worth losing years of your life over something that doesn't build your future. Stay focused, stay out of drama, and let your success make the noise for you. The streets will always be there, but opportunities like the one Pooh Shiesty had don't come around often. When life hands you a second chance, hold on tight and make the most of it, because once that door closes, it might never open again. That's it for today. Keep your head up, move smart, and stay focused on your goals. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a comment, like the video, and subscribe for more stories just like this. The spotlight is bright, the fans are watching, and yes, so are the feds. So play it safe, chase your dreams, and make sure your next headline is about success, not setbacks.